Hey everybody, welcome to STR Unfiltered. I'm Bill Faith, and let's get this episode started. I better start my timer, that way I don't go over. Boom, there we go. All right, welcome. This is a recap of the 2023 STR Wealth Conference. It just happened last week. We had over 1,000 people that attended. The education was off the charts. The networking was great. My main man, Chris Wharton, my number two, my COO, just crushed it on the production and the runs and everything else. Huge thank you if you were there. If you were there, you can listen to my take on the takeaways. If you weren't, let me give you the recap. Recordings will be available if you want to purchase them later this week. Wow. I mean, over 1,000 people. I never thought that people would come to a conference that I hosted, let alone over 1,000 of them. So it's kind of overwhelming a little bit, but humbling and very grateful. We did announce a 2024, just to get this out of the way. Tickets went on sale publicly on Saturday. We've sold, literally I'm recording this Monday morning. It's going to be released tonight at midnight. So if you see this on Tuesday, over 400 seats have already been sold. We sold 94% of our tickets in the first 2 weeks last year. We sold out 3 months in advance. Get your tickets early if you're coming to the STR Wealth Conference. STR Wealth Conference.com. It's pretty simple. We got Damon John the Shark, the People Shark, coming in 2024. It's going to be with bigger venue, Taylor Swift, concert staging. It's going to be this I'm really excited about this because it's going to be this immersive type of experience that Chris has created, which will be nothing like any of us have ever seen before. So hopefully we'll see you there. Lots of networking opportunities. There'll be over 20 sessions. We're adding a day. We'll be able to go later into the night. Just everything is going to be upgraded. Just like Mike and I do with our own properties and our listings, we're always continuing to upgrade. So last thing I want to share with you before we jump in, I literally launched a new program on Sunday. It is called SUPERHOSTSUNDAY. So every Sunday, I am going in my Build Short-Term Rental Wealth Facebook group, and I've been doing a thing called Saturday Sips for almost almost 7 years, every Saturday morning. Well, now I'm going to do that. It's like anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes in my Build Short-Term Rental Wealth Facebook group. It's called SuperHost Sundays. You can text SuperHost Sunday to 844-764-2132. That's 844-764-2132. You can see it here on video if you're watching this on YouTube. And you can catch that in the show notes down below as well. So let's move on to the 2023. The star of the show, in my opinion, Mike Michalowicz, author of Profit First. You can see I have the pumpkin plan right next to it, clockwork. And a lot of people in the Facebook group, as I asked what their takeaways were I need to create the multiple accounts. I need to start paying myself. And a lot of us are not in a financial position not to pay ourselves, but we really take care of everything else first. And we continue to reinvest, and that's great. But you got to have this overall plan. And it's one of the things that I love about Mike. Not only is Profit First been a game changer for me and my business, Mike is also an advocate of it, but man, the guy's just a cool dude. And just some behind the scenes things. If you were in the room, you know how cool the dude he was. But if you were backstage, I mean, he walked off stage, immediately started taking pictures, talking, engaging. Avery Carl came backstage. They started riffing. Literally, he grabbed a couple of guitars. They started playing some AC/DC songs together. I posted to my stories. He came to the VIP dinner, and most speakers literally walk off stage, go to the step and repeat, do their 20 minutes of, meet and greet, 30 seconds, handshake, photo, boom, next person in, 30 seconds, handshake, photo, boom. Mike, not so much. He literally walked into the VIP dinner and started a whole thing of teaching us how to do mnemonic memory, which was so cool. And I thought this was gonna be like 2 or 3 minutes. It was like 35 minutes, and everybody's engaged, and he's just delivering, and he signed everybody's book. He sat down, ate, chatted with everybody, took everybody's questions, stayed way longer than he should have. That's the sign of a great host. That's the sign of a great speaker. So Paying yourself first, creating your multiple bank accounts. I don't do 5 in this business. I do in a lot of my other businesses, but in each property I do have 3. I do have my operating account. I have my operating account. I have my investment account, and then I actually have a third account that I use. So operating by property. I have an investment account by property. I also have an investment account for my entire portfolio. But outside of the operating account, then I keep an emergency fund, and that's where my carry costs go. So I always keep at least 6 months of carry costs. So if I have a $3,000 mortgage and I've got insurance at $5,000 and I've got cable and TV and all that other stuff, landscaping, pool fees, heating fees, gas, it might be $7,000. So I'm going to keep $42,000. And I actually write that into my pro forma when I'm going in to invest in a property. So I just bought a property in Montana, paid $975 for it. So let's just say that it's $1 million, roughly 200,000, put 20% down, roughly 200 grand is like 194,000 bucks to close. But I know that the carry costs there are going to be roughly around $7,000 a month. So that 200 goes up to 242. I have a $45,000 furnishing and rehab budget. So that goes up to roughly, I'm at 242. I add 45. Now I'm at 287. I'm going to be over budget a little bit because when we were there the week before the conference, my wife and I decided to expand the deck a little bit for a hot tub and a barrel sauna looking down the river, or I should say up the river, because the views are so amazing. So I'm going to make that investment, probably going to be about $25,000. So I'm going to be literally up to around $315,000, $18,000 by the time I'm done. But the point is that I'm factoring all that in, and this is where like John the Bank Whisperer Hodge and how to prepare your pro formas and your banking and everything ahead of time becomes important. If I didn't have the cash, I'd be in a lot of trouble. So let's just say now I've spent $300,000 out of my $600,000 that I try to keep in my investment account. Now I've got to replenish that. So I'm taking 25% of the profit out of this property, excuse me, and every other property to put it back into that portfolio investment account to build that back up. So I have $600,000 to invest. So now I'm down to 300,000 out of that 6. I've got to replenish it. 300 grand leaves me about enough for another $1 million acquisition. I do plan on doing that before the end of the year. So the second thing that I want to move on to in the takeaways is really, it's kind of funny. For me, it was the women's panel. It was the only panel that I sat out in the crowd and watched almost every second of it. Just powerhouse women up there. Rachel Gainsbourg and Julie George, Sarah, Kristen Sjogren. But for me, Sarah Robinson and Avery Carl kind of stole the show. I mean, they showed their power, but they showed that family is the most important thing to them. It doesn't just have to be about business. And for Sarah to come out and be so honest that like, look, men give themselves way more credit than they should. Women don't. That's a huge takeaway for me. I mean, I knew that, but for her to say that publicly, hopefully that empowered a lot of women that are out there. The second part is that she's not Tony's wife. They are a power couple. She is just as powerful as Tony. They are the real estate Robinsons. Tony is Sarah's wife. And I have that same thing with my wife. I'm the person in the forefront, even though she's an exceptional designer and she works in the designs in the industry. People think of her as Bill's wife. So that is a condescending comment when you do make that comment to somebody else or specifically to that individual. Oh, you're Tony's wife, or oh, you're Bill's wife. No, I'm Bria's husband. And, that street needs to go 2 ways. So that empowerment for women was a huge deal for me to be able to see that come to light. Very, very impressive. The third thing and kind of the overarching component, I'm going to give it a combination of 2. Actually, I'm going to do 3 and then I'll do 4. So 3 is really the marketing side. Mark Simpson and Mark from Boosley, and I did the workshop on day number 1. That was sold out. It was a great 4 hours. And then we did our marketing workshop, our marketing session to close out the show on day number 2. There's no question that we have to be focusing on our off-platform marketing. I don't want the message to be sent that we have to send it to direct bookings. We do need to focus on direct bookings, but we also really need to focus on our Airbnb and VRBO listing optimization, because your pricing is really driven by where you're at in your rankings on the OTAs. And there's not a lot of talk about that, at least coming over the pond. A lot of people talk about just, driving to direct bookings, direct bookings, direct bookings. In theory, that's awesome. But we probably need to pay even a little bit more attention to Airbnb, which is Google. It's the 800-pound gorilla. That's my timer. That means it's 10 minutes. I got to wrap this up. So there's a lot of things that are thrown out there. The thing I would tell you is just focus on one thing first, the thing that you believe you can execute very, very well. The most important thing out of everything from social media, reels, video creation, TikTok, all this type of stuff is email marketing. But you can't email market if you don't build your list. So number one, use StayFi, use lead magnets, figure out a way in property, never ever ask in VRBO or Airbnb for somebody's email address. That violates the terms of service. Figure out a way to be able to get their emails so that way you can start email marketing. Absolutely critical. Number two is literally you should be emailing your past guests at least once a month. And you need to think about help content, help them, provide valuable information for them. Don't sell to them, because when you send them sales email after sales email, they're just going to stop reading, or they're going to mark you as spam, or they're just going to completely unsubscribe. So we need to position them first, and we need to help them. So the marketing is critical. I only do 3 things in my marketing. I'm not doing all the stuff that everybody talks about. I do email marketing, number 1, Facebook ads, number 2, and then I take advantage of buy-sell trade groups around the country. Not marketplace, buy-sell trade groups in my targeted cities of where people are traveling from to come and stay at my properties. Number 4, I'm going to give you the bonus. I know we're over time here, but is really, Mike did a great presentation on boutique hotels. And for those of you that don't have the wherewithal, the time, the finances, the money, or the know-how to go in and buy a 30-bedroom boutique hotel, I want you to understand that the valuation that's being pitched is the commercial real estate valuation for multi-family. So that starts at 4. That's a quadplex. You don't have to buy a 21-bedroom boutique hotel to get that type of valuation and force appreciation. Will it be smaller on a quadplex with 4, 5, 6 units than it will with 21, 22, 23, or 49, 50, 51, 52? Absolutely. But we all got to start someplace. And, nobody started, by going I don't know anybody that started by, we're going to go buy this 50-room, hotel right off the bat. That would be crazy, especially if you don't have a construction background or a hosting background. So you can start small and you can build your way up into, bigger projects. That's the one thing that I do dislike about our industry, is that it seems like people measure their success by the number of units. I'm going to tell you, Dr. Rachel Gainsbourg and myself have the best fucking model. No question, hands down. Our goal is to hit our financial goals with the least amount of properties. Don't walk around with the number of units on your weighing on your shoulders. Oh my God, I've got 50 units, or I've got 100 units. Whoa. And that's bullshit. That doesn't matter. The number of properties that you own, the number of units that you have, does not move the needle. There are plenty of people that have 50 units. I make a lot more money than they do. And I look at time and money to my desired outcome is the critical component. That's the last thing, is, building out, architecting your portfolio to match what you've architected for your life. That's number 5. Just absolutely super critical. I won't go into that a whole lot, but if you have questions about that, you can DM me, excuse me, or I'll be talking about that in the SuperHost Sundays in the Build Short-Term Rental Wealth Facebook group, which you can see down in the show notes. I got to go. Thanks for joining me on STR Unfiltered. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.